Good morning, YouTube fans. Admiral Preparedness here. We're now at 208 subscribers. I thank each and every one of you for coming here and looking at my channel and sticking around and providing your input. I appreciate every single word everyone out there has offered up. A shout out to everybody out there who are getting prepared for an SHTF event, regardless if it's any one of the ones that cause you to become an individual who wants to be prepared. And in saying that, today, about 2011, it was brought to my attention that you might not be able to get flour, you might not be able to get wheat, you might, well, depending on the time of year and the situation that's put upon you, you might find yourself lacking the ability to bake. So I thought to myself, well, what's the best way to preserve a wheat product is something that's already been manufactured. And of course, I'm kind of giving it away right here. Our flour tortillas. This specific company, I enjoy their product immensely. It is something where you can get a local box warehouse for a relatively reasonable price for a number of burritos. But what I had done is this is one of the bags that I kept thinking that I'd be able to reuse this bag once I opened this bag. Now this bag here, what I had done is taken the average size vacuum seal bag and I laid the product into the bag using wax paper and pulled a vacuum. Now the date on this one is 09 2012. So this has been in here for a very, very long time. There's no discoloration whatsoever of the interior product. It's hard as a rock, and I guess that's got my concern going because when I go to open this, I know that it's not just going to be so fluffy and ready to come out and edible. It's going to need some processing to get it back to its pre-vacuum state, or I'm not going to be able to get it back at all. And I just threw away a buck or two. So with you there watching, I'm going to open this container and see if this is going to be usable after several years of being inside of a vacuum. And without further ado, let's do the grand opening. Now I will reuse the bag, of course, because these aren't cheap. So here we go, folks. Since 2012. Mission flour tortillas. Air is entering the chamber. I'm removing the tortillas. We have a... Now the smell... it doesn't smell rancid, but I'm really confused as to what that is. I since flour tortillas are relatively, we have a piece of it here from the bottom of one of the container. It's brittle. Now this had moisture with it, so I'm not wondering what's going on there. Okay, as you can see, it obviously broke in half. It is it somewhat. I'm going to go ahead and give it a. Okay, it broke right in half. Okay, it's more of a cracker textures, thin, very thin since the vacuum was put on it. there's no acidity, but this is not a good idea. Okay, this experiment has failed. What I would probably use these for now is bird feed. They're pretty much useless. That was a failed experiment. I'm going to try to maybe grind it up. I won't throw it out, believe me, because it's not bad. It's just brittle. So if I put it in a food processor and ground it up, might be able to add a little moisture to it and reconstitute it. But as far as this being edible, I don't think so. I seriously doubt that this would ever be looked upon as something my family would want to consume. It's just got that, it's got a distinct smell, but I don't have the analog to go with it, which is the fresh flour tortilla. Wait a second, I do have one. Give me just a second. I have one Mission Tortilla. It's the same company. It's the same brand. In fact, if you look at the container from all those years ago, it's the same product. So we can use it as our analog. This is my last one I had. You can see the difference between the two. The discoloration. Obviously, the thickness. Yes, that has a definite smell to it that's not normal. So we're going to go with the fact that probably, more than likely, one of these ingredients has soured, as they say, and caused the tortilla to deteriorate beyond being edible. So this is definitely a failed experiment. There's not much invested to lose any amount of money on, just time. If you look at the product in more details, we further drill our way down. They've all, I'm going to call it, I don't want to call it oxidated because there was no oxygen, but there is a definite odor coming from these chips. Definitely an odor. They are not. I wouldn't go out there and say I'd eat them if I needed to, but I definitely would probably use these as bird food. Crush them up and throw them outside. That's exactly what I'm going to do today. Is take them out and crush them up and see if the local birds will eat them, because we won't eat them here. What I will do is use these as my scavenger bait for the people who, if they ever did try to get in, this is what they would find, and thinking that they could use this as food. Good luck. Um, you know, you don't know until you try, folks. So I'm not mad. I'm not upset. It's an education process that you have to go through. This is one of those situations. Now, I had also uh, vacuum sealed corn tortillas, uncooked, of course, and we'll have to go and find one of those and see what the status is, since they are preserved the same amount of time that these were. Now, I will try this experiment again using parchment paper, because maybe the wax paper had something to do with the early degradation of the product. I really don't know. The moisture content of the flour tortillas is also considered. So what we have here is a failed experiment that, oh well, that's what learning is all about. Admiral Preparedness here. I'll talk to you soon. Back for just a couple seconds here. We gave it a good crushing, and we're going to take it outside and feed the birds. So there you go, folks. At least some form of life will be able to benefit from my experiment. I always say I'm not going to throw it out. Now another animal could use it. Take it home and put it in her nest and feed her youngins.